So LA was a blast. The first thing we did when we landed was, of course, get an arm day in with Bradley Martin. And as you can see, the pump was real. After we finished up, we took a drive to go see our good Brian Decosta. We talked about everything from how he got started in fitness and insight into the back end of both of our business. So check it out. So we're here in LA, Brian Decosta. I've only met Brian once, very briefly, in Miami, but I was telling him that I feel like I know him just because of how connected everyone in the fitness industry is through social media. We could have done, one of my classic videos where we just go to a gym and I guess we work out together. But I felt like with Brian it would be more appropriate for us to actually sit down and have a conversation because I personally find his story really interesting. And I, want to be able for him to share it and for people to hopefully get the message and learn a little bit from kind of like what he's done with his life and hopefully be inspired because I certainly have been through like following you for this, since I met you. It's been pretty awesome. I think it's interesting the approach that Brian has taken with his page and with fitness as far as like just trying to engage people and create more conversation and just encouraging people to be a little bit more mindful and just go beyond just the aesthetics and just fitness. Just try to dig a little bit deeper in their heads and try to spark conversation and just more thought, essentially, because that's been the goal with your page, right? I remember like at the beginning you had it on your caption where it said read a caption. It was something like that. Mm-hmm. And I love that because the cover on his photos would be like all of him looking amazing, just shredded, but then the caption would be something really deep. And while, it's kind of like an interesting contrast because obviously what's going to grab you, it's a picture of a dude looking really shredded or even like a side-by-side of you with your suit and then one like of you looking shredded, and then the caption would be something completely different. But it's smart, like how you were grabbing people's attentions.
Thank you. First, I just want to say I'm honored and I'm so super grateful that you guys are willing to make the time because I look up to you guys, and when I stumbled across your gym through a friend, George, when I was in Miami, I had no idea who you guys were. And then I quickly was indoctrinated through following you guys into hyper performance and just how high performing you guys are as athletes. And you guys inspire me daily when I see you guys. So I want you to know that anyone watching here, don't come to my page to think I'm anything like them in terms of performance. I got into fitness to really improve confidence when I was younger. Didn't really know what I wanted to do with life, and I really grabbed onto fitness, specifically bodybuilding style training as a flagpole to really have certainty in life, like coming out of high school, going into college, and then fast forward, got into a corporate job as an accountant and ultimately left that to start an online fitness coaching business and business mentorship. And that's, I kind of honestly stumbled into the fitness space from just sharing free content online, primarily through YouTube and Instagram. And it was simply an internal drive that I felt that I was compelled to do. From when I was an accountant living on the East Coast in Washington, D.C., I saw the fitness industry for what it was, and I guess I saw a gap or things that were unspoken that I could tell that everyone was feeling, but no one was actually like addressing. And it's this concept of like how a lot of individuals in the fitness industry are actually very unhealthy mentally or physically, but yet we're all epitomized as the epitome, the top of the food chain with health, and I find that really bizarre. So I made a commitment to myself that I'm going to show up with not necessarily more of an honest angle, but just more of a just very vulnerable and transparent angle about everything that I do. If it's unhealthy, if it's healthy, share it. And that, we can get into it, but that was basically born out of like struggling with the eating disorder earlier in life and things like that. So long-winded, but I just want to say thank you guys for coming and being willing to have a conversation. Seriously.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah,
I was talking to Megan. She was telling me also that your dad used to do motivational speaking.
Yes. Yeah, so my dad he was a corporate guy, worked a corporate marketing job for like 20 years until I was like middle school or so, and then with the recession that hit, I believe 2000, I forget, early 2000s, he lost his position and used that as a sign to go all in on his passion of entrepreneurship. He had been a longtime follower of Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, all of these guys. So he started executive coaching, like for CEOs, COOs, basically mindset coaching, more or less like a Tony Robbins.
Wow. Online, he was doing that?
He didn't start online, but he then transitioned to online. And that's how, it's funny, to get paid on the side in college, I would edit my dad's YouTube videos and post them. So I posted like 300-400 of his YouTube videos. So, but that's how he started. And then he works with John Maxwell, who's a big, I think in the South, he's a big New York Times bestseller, and he has a team of coaches under him. And my dad leads up the sales and marketing, so he'll speak on stage with John.
Wow.
And
are those videos still up online?
Yeah.
What's your dad's name, just if people want to look him up?
Oh, I'll send you guys some. His name's Ed Decosta. He's an older version of me, but way more energy. He's like a spitfire. So
that's incredible.
Yeah.
So I mean, growing up, obviously you had all of that exposure to what your dad was doing, but you still chose to be an accountant. Like you still chose the conventional path or the traditional path. Why was that?
I was definitely influenced to take that traditional path. And I'm an observer too. I like seeing what other people are doing, psychoanalyzing why are they making that decision. So my mom, small Italian lady, comes from a very hardworking family, and it's security. It's 401k, it's, do what you need to do to provide for your family, and that's definitely the mind state I adopted going into college. So my decision literally was like this. It was like, okay, I don't like blood. I can't deal with it, so I'm not doing healthcare. I don't like deep numbers, so I'm not doing engineering. What can I do? Okay, well, my dad's in business. I feel like I can be decent at business. Okay, let's look at business school. What are the most reputable degrees in business? Okay, everyone laughs at management. Everyone kind of laughs at marketing. Oh, but the accounting guys and finance guys are respected. Okay, so I got a finance degree and an accounting degree. And I was like,
it's so funny. Very similar to the route that I took. My dad is a portfolio manager. His degree's in economics. I was the same way, super into fitness, but everybody. My parents were really good at sort of just encouraging me to do whatever I wanted to do, but everyone else in society, my friends, family, teachers, were all pushing obviously towards a more traditional path. So I was like, I like the way my dad lives. I'll do that. Ended up going into my degrees in international economics and finance. I knew almost right away that it wasn't what I wanted to do as soon as I was in it, but I stuck it out, finished the degree, and then did absolutely the opposite.
So from that accounting job, what made you kind of take that leap to leaving that the comfort of a secure job into something that's a little bit more uncertain and that you kind of have to create for yourself? It's interesting that, and I'll let you answer that question, but it's interesting that when I was in undergrad and didn't really know what to do, I switched my majors 5 times. Started in architecture, changed to business, nursing, pre-med, and then eventually XPhys. And, every few months I would be sitting down in my advisor's office being like, I don't know what to do. I tried this class, didn't like it, almost failed out of accounting, then almost failed out of bio. It would always be one class that I'm like, this is not for me. That would kind of instantly cue me that I just didn't have what it took to be good at that particular profession. That's what would make me change. And then I had a conversation with her and she was like, Steph, listen, just pick something and stick with it, because what you want to do doesn't exist. You're going to create the job for yourself. She said that to me and I thought she was whack. She was crazy. What do you mean the job I want doesn't exist? I'm going to create it. That's insane. And then it's crazy because it totally is.
Gives me chills.
Almost the exact same thing happened to me. Did I ever tell you that?
No.
I played hockey growing up, as is the law in Canada. And my ultimate goal is to go play hockey in the States, get a scholarship.
The American dream.
Yeah. So I had to, do the SATs and take interview prep courses and stuff like that. And one of the guys said the exact same thing to me. He's like, whatever job you're gonna do in the future doesn't exist yet.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just
Makes
one of those
sense.
things that's like, it could just be one of those things people say, and then how can you fact check that until like, you know, 10, 15 years down the road, but it ended up actually being true.
Yeah.
It's like, it's pretty interesting that we both had people with that sort of foresight to see that.
Yeah. So anyway, go ahead. So what made you take that leap?
Looking back, it's so clear, like hindsight's 2020, just how gray life was and how unhappy I was. I didn't really like realize it fully at the time because I am an expert at distracting myself with going out on the weekends with friends. What are you doing? Drinking, spending my paycheck, like all the things that people do. Looking forward to the weekend, like hating the fact Monday's coming. But small call in my soul started to speak up when I've always been a longtime follower of Steve Cook, and I think I tuned into one of his YouTube videos, and he happened to do a video with Christian Guzman. And I clicked on Christian's channel, and I was like, all right, who's this fucking guy? He's like younger than me. Like, oh, whoa, like he has a gym? Wait, what does he do? Oh, he does like online fitness coaching. Okay, so I started to watch Christian. I was like, wow, like this is really neat. And then one of his good buddies, Max Tuning, I found his channel, and then realized and saw in one of Max's videos that my apartment building was in the background of one of his videos. And I had no idea where he was from. And I was like, wait a second. Like, he literally lives in my neighborhood in Washington, D.C. What are the chances? So I saw these guys literally living a life in something that I truly was really passionate about. Like, I was always passionate about fitness. And that was like my permission slip, so to speak, that it was possible. So I heard Max in one video speak on a point and shoot camera that he uses. And I literally got on Amazon that day and I ordered it. And then by the next week, I had my first YouTube video up. And I've never been that quick of an action taker, but it was literally like just this like thing, like I need to do this. Like I just need to share. I don't know what it's gonna come of it. There's no intention of growing a business, but I know I have something to say. Like I've struggled with fitness and diet in the past, and people need to know how to do this the right way. And specifically people who work busy jobs, because at the time, like I was working for a startup as one of the only accountants. Like I was burning the midnight oil a lot, but I was still making time for the gym. So I was like, I'm just gonna share content that helps busy people. And then so I started that, and then very quickly met my ex-girlfriend. Her name's Amanda Bucci, who has a big YouTube channel, big Instagram platform. We started dating within a couple weeks, and then with her exposure in fitness, I started to gain attention and from her profile, like people coming over like, who's this guy she's dating? And then that was all within like the first like couple months of sharing free content. Was like my profiles started to grow. So I was just like, whoa. And that was the start. And then I, 3-4 months later, had someone email me that watched my YouTube videos. His name was Johnny. He was in the Marines. He had served overseas and was in great shape then, but had subsequently come back, got out of shape. He was depressed, wasn't in a good place. He basically emailed me and said, Brian, I watch your YouTube videos. I really connect with you. I'm from the area you're from. I don't know if you provide coaching, but if you do, I would love to be your client. Like, what does that look like? And I honestly was gonna email him back and just be like, no, I don't. But Amanda was my encouragement. I literally told her I got the email. She was like, you idiot. Like, you literally have someone knocking on your door, literally saying like, let me give you money to help me in something you're passionate about, and you're gonna say no. And so I said yes. I told him I have a 12-week coaching program. It's $500. I had nothing built, no idea how to help him, no training programs, no nutrition plans, but like I just made it work. Like that night, I like stayed up all night. I built something, sent it to him, fingers crossed. Like I hope he likes it, and he did. And he stayed with me for a year. Lost a shit ton of weight. I think he lost at least 50 pounds, and regained confidence, and like that was the start. And then I eventually matched my income, and then it just started.
So there was a time when you were doing both, and then it got to the point where you're like, I'm making as much money doing this as I am with my 9-to-5, and sort of decided to make that switch then?
Yeah, so as an accountant, I was making around, and I'm very open, I was making like mid-50s, maybe 55, 56, and that paycheck bi-weekly was, I think like $2K or so after taxes. No, what was it? Yeah, it was like, I think it was around that, 2K, 2.5K, and then as soon as I was bringing that in, like the thoughts really started rolling, like, wow, like I'm doing this on the side, imagine what I could do, like if I freed up my whole day, literally just to like go all in on this. And that was like, obviously this is not just all me like being like a pioneer, this is with support, this is with like seeing my dad do it, my dad being excited as an entrepreneurial mind, seeing what I'm doing, like, fuck yeah, like Brian, this is cool, I don't know what you're doing. And the girl I was dating at the time already being in fitness, so I definitely had some guidance and cheerleaders behind me, but that was the start, yeah.
I think one thing that's important about this part of your story is that you had something that people were interested in. So it's like, you know, obviously you have this business that is about encouraging other people to do something similar to what you're doing, right? With the business aspect, like you can also be an online coach, etc., which obviously, like you said, with some guidance, I feel like people could potentially have a successful business, but you have to have something, like either you know something or you look a part, or people have to be drawn to you for some reason.
You actually lead me right into something that I was interested in asking you, which is even if you have that something, the way that you convey it, I think, is so important. And something that I thought was really interesting with your page was when we first met you. You know, we went and you always go look up the person online after. I'm like, okay, this guy's a bit of a following. You know, I got to see what you were doing. Fast forward a few months, and I go check out your page again, and I think you had like 100,000 more followers or something like that. And the look of your page had completely changed also. It kind of seemed like you had discovered a way to get your message out a lot better, to catch people's attention a lot better. And like it was very obvious, it was like a night and day switch sort of thing. So I wanted to ask you, was there a moment where you sort of, it clicked for you and like you're like, oh, this is what people want to see, or was there some sort of, you know, epiphanal moment?
I just pay attention. Like, I'm drawn to this. Why am I drawn to this? And why are other people drawn to this? And I just notice what's like, I think that is a skill set, is just noticing what's working and noticing what's connecting to people beyond just like likes. It's like, what's the quality of the comment? What's the like, are a lot of people tagging them? Are a lot of people sharing, right? Just being in tune to those things, and like, cause like, yeah, like you said, Christian, he's never won anything, like set a record. Steve Cook's never won the Olympia. He's been on the Olympia stage, which is amazing, but yeah, it's two different skill sets completely. Like being a high performing athlete, growing an online fitness brand. Like, these are two very different things. And the guys who have big online fitness brands, a lot of them like aren't even in the best shape, have never been high performing athletes. They're literally just online marketers that happen to like fitness, are the guys that bring in the millions per year. And then the best athletes, a lot of times, not always the case, you guys definitely don't fall in this category, are like, so I gotta make an Instagram profile? Okay, what do I share? Like, there's just no shot. There's no shot. I'm just like, you're done.
I think it can be to the detriment of some athletes when they're so good at the sport, because to get there, all they did was put all of their time and energy and every waking moment into getting good at that sport. So they become unbelievable at perfecting the skill that goes into, you know, it's powerlifting, squat, bench, and deadlift, and then it's like this whole other array of business activities that they just have no understanding of.
Yeah.
So it's kind of neat where we've been lucky enough to sort of bounce things off each other, where, you know, Stefi is this superstar and I have a little bit more of a business background, so we've been able to like work together in that sense.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool balance.
So
but can also rep out 600 on squats.
Yeah, but you're in a whole other stratosphere in that sense. But yeah, it's just neat, and when people have the both of those things, which is kind of what you have now, and with the influence of your dad and your success in the bodybuilding world, it's kind of cool to see just all in one brand, sort of a reflection of what we've done, but you from the other side. And were you going to change topics? Because I have one more thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I just wanted to touch on this too. Something interesting that I think is unique about your page. Another thing that I noticed is you see a ton of pages out there that are promoting 5 easy ways to build your chest, my 3 favorite leg workouts, et cetera, the list goes on. And I think those people, to those who know a lot about fitness, can sometimes be cast in a negative light because it's almost like, oh, you're selling these 3 chest exercises as the way you build your chest or something like that. But I think what you've done is a very good job of sort of covering both bases, where you'll say, this is an example of a workout that I used to do chest and tris or whatever. But I've seen you address many times the main underlying principle is always going to be progressive overload, and you talk about those things
you
that
stick
are
to
the real
hardcore scientific
Right.
basis of training.
What's really happening when you're doing these exercises and what it looks like over time. So as somebody who doesn't know a lot about fitness, they can go to your page for workout ideas. Like, oh, I've never done a chest workout before. What the hell do I do? You can go to your page and you can see, bench press, dumbbell press, flies, all that stuff. But then you can still keep the respect of people who know a lot about fitness by not sort of selling it as like X equals Y, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just thought that was a unique point that a lot of people miss, whether it's just unintentional or, they're just focusing really hard on one demographic, but you seem to cover both of those. And I think that's something that's super valuable.
Thank you. I think, as online business starts to grow and people start to purchase things online and I'm someone who goes all in. Like, if I'm gonna do something, I want to be the best at it. I think as athletes get to a point that we're at, you have to be that way. And the point that you brought up about high performing athletes that put all their time into becoming the best athlete, it is tough to then pivot to try to be that athlete and then an online business person, because we just know go 120%. And then if we try to go 120% in both, it just doesn't work. You've gotta, Tim Ferriss has this quote, you can do anything you want, but not at the same time, right? So that's a difficult thing I find for athletes. Just athletes that are high performing need support. They just need support. They need people that are with them, that can edit, that can paint perhaps you have a marketing or story background. And then quickly on the topic that you brought up with the content is, another thing that I heard from the mentor is, give your best stuff away for free and people will pay you for the implementation that connect with you. So my thought process with content is always pretty much the same shit that I give to my paying clients I give online for free. It's basically the same stuff. And I trust that because at the end of the day, I'm not giving a watered down version of a workout or something. Now, granted, I'm not posting workouts that are a very exact program, right? That's another thing. So with my programming, I'm very clear, you guys are following daily workouts that I do, but understand they're not necessarily based in progressive overload. Yes, you can make them that way, but you've got to follow an actual training program. If you just follow these daily workouts, yes, you can get in good shape, but you're going to plateau. So, I just think there's no skirting getting around just giving no BS fucking information. And not only that, if I want to be in fitness for a long time, which we do, I also want respect of those that are actually in the fitness space that also follow. We all follow people in the fitness space. I don't want to be known as the 5 chest builder exercise guy. That's not, because we all see that and we're just get the fuck out of here. we know you're playing a game. It's I'm not about that.
Yeah, not being a sellout. For your business, you have one portion of it is actual coaching, like fitness coaching, workouts, and nutrition too, or not yet?
It's only one offering. It's training and nutrition.
Okay, training and nutrition, and then the other portion is business mentoring.
Yeah.
Right? Online marketing specifically, right?
Yeah, we teach marketing, but it's basically aspiring or current online fitness coaches who are looking to grow online.
Okay, so that is really interesting because you're not afraid of competition. People are coming to you because they look up to you and what you're doing with your platform, and you're not afraid of giving up your tips. Are you not afraid of the competition, or why?
No, it's a different mindset. I'm sure you guys have heard this, a classic abundance versus scarcity mindset. The scarcity mindset says there's not enough to go around. Everyone out there is my competitor. You guys are my competitors. I'm not gonna say certain things because I don't want their, like, that's like scarcity. There's not enough. Abundance is there's more than enough to go around, and me seeing another online fitness coaching business grow makes me happy, and it's a win, because if I truly believe in the value of coaching and fitness coaching, I want to see the pie grow as an industry. I don't want to fight for a piece of that pie with my brand. Like, the coaching industry can grow. It's like, believe it or not, like, it's still only been prominent for 3 to 5 years. It's still gonna grow insanely. Like, why for a second am I gonna like fight over a small piece of the pie when I can work to grow the whole fucking thing? Right? It's just another mindset. Like, I'm creating coaches that are gonna serve clients that connect with them. Like, I have girls that help. There's a girl named Najila that I mentor who's from the Middle East, who helps women who with training and nutrition, but who have been through domestic abuse. I'm never gonna help clients I'm never gonna serve people that she serves, but I can equip her to win with her business, So like, it's just growing the whole pie. Like, that's my view of it. There's more than enough to go around. There's 7 billion people in the freaking world, and like, I guarantee you less than 1% of them have ever had a fitness coach.
I love that, and we can resonate with that so much, because we've been in the position where we've been perceived as a threat, as like competitors, and people have broken friendships with us because we started offering certain services, and that's something we've never understood, because I have the same mindset. There's more than enough for everyone to go around. There's more than enough fish in the pond. And beyond that, it's like you said, people are gonna gravitate towards your services because there's something unique about you that they like, and they're gonna gravitate towards me because there's something about me that they resonate with, or that they want to learn more about, or I don't know. So it's just like, to view everyone as a threat, it's just so
I think
limiting to them too.
Sure. And I think even if you're going after the exact same target demographic, like you said, there's definitely enough to go around. Like, gone are the days of coaching being who are the 2 biggest guys at the gym, and I'm gonna pick between one of those guys.
Right.
Now you can literally do as much research as you want, look through everybody's Instagram page, Google, YouTube, all these different places, and if that pie continues to grow and coaches become more informed, it legitimizes the whole industry on a level that it hasn't been before.
Yeah.
And not to mention that it's such a fluid market as well. Like, I might follow your program for 6 months and then be like, oh, I loved it, it was great, Brian's awesome, but hey, I want to see what Hayden's up to.
Exactly.
And then you buy his program for 6 months.
Actually.
Yeah.
People will come to us and they'll be like, I did Juggernaut, Catalyst, this, that, and now I'm doing hybrid.
Yeah.
And it's cool. There's a little bit to learn probably from each one of those different camps. So
I was literally gonna say that, like, as soon as I transfer out of the fat loss phase, like, I would love to go through like a hybrid like gain phase, like, strategically, because I've never done that. Like, focus on the big 3 and OHP, and I know you guys have offerings like that, and I would love to not only go through that, but share with my people that I am going through that, because there's more than enough to go around. I share who my fitness coach is with online. People may think like, oh, but you're a fitness coach and you're like sharing the fact that you're coached by this person. Don't you think like no clients are going to come to you, they're just going to go to him? No. And that hasn't actually held true at all. It's actually been the opposite.
Yeah, there's always something to learn, and I think people appreciate that too. That you're able, even though you're a fitness expert, you're still open-minded, and you're still willing to learn from someone else that might have more experience or more years in the industry, or whatever that might be.
Pick something up along the way that you missed.
Yeah, like what I was saying in one of my most recent videos as well, that one of the things that I enjoy the most about what I'm doing now, and being able to have a channel and having the excuse to sit down and talk to people like you, is that I get to pick your brains. I get to learn so much. I went to Ohio to Louis Simmons' gym, Westside, and it was like a complete flip to anything that I've ever done, right? And maybe I don't agree obviously with 100% of the things that he was mentioning or that he's suggesting, but I definitely picked up 1 or 2 gems that I've been applying to my program and programming that I write for hybrid or for individual people that are valuable. So you just don't know like what they might know that can benefit you or someone you know.
Oh yeah.
I think. what are the steps that you're encouraging them to take, or kind of like what's the general advice that you give if you had to like summarize it?
3 things that I focus on with everybody. It's organic content marketing, sales, enrolling clients, that process, and then over delivery. So the first one is organic content marketing. So that's really personal. That gets really, really personal and uncomfortable with everybody, because to be able to market, you have to know yourself very well and know your intentions, know who you are. You have to know your story. You need to know the person you're speaking to. And these are conceptual things, or things that require a lot of conscious effort. So and I view them as like a funnel. I view it as a funnel. That's what I always share with everyone, is like there's the top of the funnel is your marketing, then it's sales, then it's delivering to the client, and then it's re-signing the client. Like that's the bottom. Client retention, whatever these terms we use, acquisition. Well, not client acquisition, but on the first one, it's just getting to know yourself and being able to like own your voice and show up online. But also with the steak and the sizzle, with not just like, and that's a big bridge to gap with all new mentees is, hey, like your message is great, but your content sucks. And just being able to say that, or your content is great and visually stimulating, but I feel dumber after reading something you just wrote. Like we need to work on both. So there's that, and then there's enrollment, which is how do you connect with the client? Best way to grow an online business through fitness, my firm belief, is working with a small amount of clients for a lot of money. Because people aren't blessed to have tens of thousands of followers that we have. Most people who reach out to me, they can't crack 1,000, right? They're not gonna sell a $47 program and make a full-time income. It's just not gonna happen. So they get to understand how to sell, how to enroll. And I've taken courses on selling. I've hired mentors who've grown online fitness coaching businesses with small audiences. And more or less what we teach is you connect with a client on a call or a Skype or a Zoom call, and you go through a strategic, powerful fucking conversation. You figure out exactly what they need, exactly what their pains are, what's holding them back, and where they want to be.
I think that is a breath of fresh air, and I can agree with that thought process a lot, because I think a lot of people, what holds them back when they're trying to start their own business is that they think they need to convince, like in order to make a lot of money, they need to convince like hundreds of millions of people to buy into what they're selling, where it's the complete opposite. Like in order to make a solid business out of something, you just need to convince a few people to buy into what you're selling. And especially at the beginning, like you're saying, if you have that model where you just charge a little bit more but you take on less clients, like how many clients would it take you to make a comfortable amount of money per month? Like
well,
say you charge,
look for him, it would, like once you start
you
doing
had
the
one
math,
client for $500, maybe you have 5 clients.
Well, it's a thing. That's all
And
you
that's
needed,
already
right?
$2,500.
He's making $2,500 a month.
Right.
500
Well, every 12
clients
weeks,
or every 12 weeks. But I mean, it doesn't take that many people for you to match the income you're already making.
No, and honestly, like that price that I charged that first one, I literally pulled it out of my ass. I had no idea. I didn't have any guidance at that point, so I increased prices after that for 12 weeks. But and this is something I always share as well with my mentees is, hey, we always see ad nauseum. It's honestly like nauseating online, like 6-figure business coach or whatever. Like at least I see that a lot.
Yeah.
Well, do you know what it takes to actually become a 6-figure earner in a year? Well, it's $100,000, and to do that, if you sign one client a week at $2,000, there you go. You're there.
Yeah. So that's another interesting thing. I think that you should, whatever goal that you have for an income, you work it backwards. Kind of like similar to what Elon Musk did with his not a flamethrower. But he says that's the way that he approaches business. He's like, which I was doing before that the same way, and I'm like, damn, that's genius. So maybe I'm, Elon Musk in me. But so he's like, okay, I want to make
I see it.
I want to make $5 million. How am I gonna accomplish that? All right, there's this thing that I'm gonna sell. How many units do I need to sell, and at which price to make $5 million? And that's how you do it. You grab a figure that it's what you want to make, and you start working backwards. All right, how many fitness programs do I need to sell into how many people? And that's where you need to start.
Engineer.
And it's usually not as many people as you think it's going to take for you to be able to make a decent living.
Yeah, that's literally what it is. It's reverse engineer from where you want to be. Whatever figure is true for you. Like my first year, I was ambitious. I was like, I want to make 250K in a year. Coming as an accountant who was making like mid 50s, and I got there, and it was because I reverse engineered exactly what I needed to do. So, with having a conversation with someone, especially someone who you connect with online on the phone, you're not going to have 100% conversion. There's going to be people who genuinely can't afford it. They're saying they can't afford it, but they're not sold yet. So you've got to factor in every person you get on the phone with. If you're really good, you'll convert half. If you're just good, you'll convert about 30%. And if you're decent, you'll convert like 20% or so. So you've got to be willing to have 5 like draining, arguably emotional conversations with people to be able to sign on one client. So you've got to plan for that. Like, that's okay. So then not everyone that you connect with online is gonna want to get on the phone with you. Even if we position it, and there's ways that we do that to get on the phone with someone where we're not like hard selling them. But so you've got to make at least 20 connections online and conversations to then funnel down to 1, maybe 2 paying clients. So yeah, there's like even reverse engineer, all the way down to how many people do I need to even be interacting with each day to get to this figure per year.
But even then, it's a lot less overwhelming than if you're just throwing shots in the air,
And you don't know, you don't know. Idea. That's the worst, is when you're taking hard action and you don't know if you're doing the right thing. You don't know if it's all in vain. Like, that's the added thing of entrepreneurship, is like when you work a job, you have your KPIs, you know what you need to be doing. When you're an entrepreneur, it's like, I'm willing to fucking work hard, but what do I work hard at? That's the tough thing.
Energy.
Yeah, it's like, you guys have probably have this conversation on, it's like, do we put energy here? Do we put energy here? YouTube ads, Facebook ads, build a new program, hire a new coach,
Yeah, it's crazy. I think that's something that we run into a lot, because Steph has like 5 new ideas every day. And then it's like...
True entrepreneur.
Then what I do is like...
And they're so random too.
But they're all good.
Like one day
and sometimes they're not
we
even
should raise chickens.
Sometimes they're not even fitness related, but you do have so many good ideas, and then I have to sort of be like, which are the ones that we can attack right now and focus our energy on, and which ones are maybe good for down the road and stuff like that.
Seeing you guys together, like, now I like fully understand how you guys have this symbiotic relationship and can like balance each other out. I can totally see that. I mean, no relationship's perfect, but like I understand, at least conceptually, like how you guys can work now.
Yeah.
Just from like observing.
At least from a business standpoint, it works.
Just business?
I'm gonna say attitude. No, I'm kidding. Step 1 was the marketing. Step 2 is the enrollment, the sales, and then step 3 is over delivering.
So what sales? Like in what sense?
Like getting on the phone.
Okay.
Get on the phone with people, have a powerful conversation, and if you guys connect with each other and there's mutual, commitment, I like what you're offering, then...
How do you get that person on the phone in the first place?
You invite them to a call. So we have our students pick 2 primary platforms that they're going to exist on. Because these are individuals who enroll, like, it's very clear they want to grow an online fitness coaching business. So it's like, okay, obviously you exist on social platforms, at least you should. They have one main, they have a secondary. On their main platform is where their primary content is portrayed, and then anyone who comments on their stuff, likes their stuff, messages them, views their story, votes on a poll, that's a lead in our eyes. That's someone who is interested in what you're doing. And then it's as simple as, positioning content that's very helpful for someone that you would like to help, right? Your model client, your ideal client. And then, conceptually, and this always proves out, is people who like that content will start to follow you. And then you start a conversation there, you bring them value, perhaps in the DMs. I love that Instagram now has voice memo feature and even video, because you can show up as a non-creep. Like, I think popping in someone's DM straight with video is a little weird, but like, if you start with some text and then you start sending a voice memo, you can really warm up to someone, invite them to a call, and it's as simple as like, hey, honestly, like, I hate texting. I can barely text my mom back. Would you want to jump on a quick, 5-10 minute call? I definitely think I can help you. And then you just get on the phone with them, bring them like quick value, and then the conversation starts from there. And then
Was it you that sent me a voice memo one time?
I literally
We
only
were
send
talking
voice
about
memos.
that, and I was like, that's insane. He sent me like a minute-long voice memo.
There's a few people who do
I
that. Mark Bell, he's another one.
Yeah,
It's
he's
like-
big into voice memos.
Big voice memo guy.
For some reason, I just hate this part.
Oh, that's
Like
the worst.
this?
And then someone calls and
Hates
it
it.
like cuts it off.
I don't know, just I hate that. I
Yeah.
just want to like see it there.
Yeah, well, when you have a voice memo, I feel like you almost feel the pressure to
Like
Listen to
respond
it
with
respond
it.
right away.
It's true.
So it's like with a text, you can take your time, but with a
Yeah.
voice memo, it's like, oh, I listened to this. This is like a conversation, which I think is actually effective for what you're doing.
Yeah,
Trying to get the conversation
absolutely
started.
is.
Yeah.
It kind of makes
And
those
it's so much
people-
more personal too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, and then the last one is just deliver to them well, deliver to the client well, and because I teach one-on-one, high price point is usually the clients have a lot of access to their coach, so that looks something like, you build them a training program that's going to work for them, you build them a nutrition plan, that nutrition plan suggestion, if they're not registered dietitian, you have contact with them throughout the week. They can perhaps text you. We have a platform where they can have their own app, white labeled, and their own logo and stuff. Their client can download their app, go through a training program, and then a check-in process.
It's so neat when you talk to different people to see how they seem like totally different products and ideas, but it really does boil down to a lot of the exact same stuff. Like the 3 things you mentioned are literally the exact same. The way we package them is a little bit differently, but the ideas are the same. You talk about understanding your role if you want to start a business. So, if you're, like you talked about, getting to know yourself and being comfortable with that, it's the same sort of idea. If you're a 200-pound guy and your max squat is 200 pounds, you're not going to sell squat programs to powerlifters. You know what I mean?
Right.
But if that's what you want to do and you want to figure out a way to do that, then you need to find someone else who can fill the role as sort of the face or the marketing part of that, right? And then making things easily deliverable is the other thing that we talk about, like making your message easily deliverable, and then over delivering.
Over delivering
So
is huge.
it's really interesting because like
There's so
at
much
face
crap.
value, it seems like what we do is very different, but it really does boil down to those 3 very similar things.
And then I had another question about that. So how do you control that the things that they're posting are high quality? So for example, there's a lot of fitness people right now trying to get roles as coaches or just trying to get people to buy into whatever they're selling, but they're really not qualified to be doing that. So how do you control for that?
So how do I control if
at all.
someone who signs up for to be mentored by me,
Actually has no idea about what they're talking about.
no idea what they're talking about?
They're selling BS stuff.
Honestly, that's the way that I sell it. It's a program, but it's also a course based. I very clearly say when they sign up that I am not teaching you one lick of how to coach. There's zero. I have one training module series of how to coach powerfully, but it's mindset based. It's like how to hold people accountable. Don't be their friend, like you're their coach. But it's not. There's nothing on nutrition, nothing on training. It's understood.
It's so neat when you talk to different people to see how they seem like totally different products and ideas, but it really does boil down to a lot of the exact same stuff. Like the 3 things you mentioned are literally the exact same. The way we package them is a little bit differently, but the ideas are the same. You talk about understanding your role if you want to start a business. So, if you're, like you talked about, getting to know yourself and being comfortable with that, it's the same sort of idea. If you're a 200-pound guy and your max squat is 200 pounds, you're not going to sell squat programs to powerlifters.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
But if that's what you want to do and you want to figure out a way to do that, then you need to find someone else who can fill the role as sort of the face or the marketing part of that, right? And then making things easily deliverable is the other thing that we talk about, like making your message easily deliverable, and then over delivering.
Mm-hmm.
Over delivering is huge.
It's really interesting because like
There's so
at
much
face
crap.
value, it seems like what we do is very different, but it really does boil down to those three very similar things.
One of my newest projects is about how to prepare people online to have kind of like the best understanding of fitness in general from like A to all the way to Z. So it's a series of webinars that'll take you probably like 3 months to complete. That goes from nutrition to periodization to psychology to supplementation. Maybe I'm missing something, but that's the theoretical portion of it, and then the practical portion is like anatomy, biomechanics, squat, bench, deadlift, snatch, clean and jerk, how to coach them, common mistakes, how to fix them,
Wow.
rehab,
Wow.
and then I don't know what else. But yeah, it's like a 3-month-long course. It's called Institute of Strength.
That's amazing.
And that's essentially for people who want to be in this space, for them to be like as prepared as possible with the highest level of evidence, essentially.
And it was inspired based off of your own sort of struggle coming out
When,
of
yeah, exactly.
grad
When
school.
I was coming out of grad school, so I graduated with a degree in exercise science, but I still felt like I knew nothing practical. And it's what we were talking about, right? Like you want to go back to school to study nutrition. And I said, yeah, I mean, maybe for the credentials it'd be great, but you'll be taking a lot of courses that are not applicable at all, or not practical. So it's like, and even me, after graduating with a doctorate level degree in physical therapy, I came out of it, and my biggest struggle was I felt like I wasn't prepared. Like I don't know anything, and I came out of, how many years did it take me to graduate? 9 years of schooling I did, and I still felt completely unprepared for the real world, because it's very different. So what are some of the courses that I was taking in grad school? Geriatrics, so I was learning how to deal with old people. I took 4 medical terminology classes that took 4 semesters to take for some reason. Pediatrics, Neuro 1, 2, 3. So all of those are classes that teach you how to think critically, open your mind to like different reasons why something might be happening with a super complex patient. But for the day-to-day stuff, like just coaching someone, understanding biomechanics, how can you teach someone how to squat, how to overhead press, what are some of the things that you need to look at globally when you're trying to improve someone's like overhead range of motion. I felt like I wasn't equipped for those just mundane day-to-day things. And that's what inspired me. I'm like, okay, I want to create a course that someone can take anywhere in the world. Like you don't need to fly in from Stockholm to Miami to take it. You can take it in the comfort of your own home, and then that would prepare you for literally anything that would be thrown your way.
Yeah.
Fitness.
I agree, and I don't definitely, this is zero to discount education whatsoever, because you undoubtedly through that education picked up on things that put you way ahead of the majority of online fitness business owners. But I do think with education it teaches us how to run at a higher level. College, like that's what you just learn how to think critically, like you said, like maintain a schedule, show up for class, showing up's 90% of the job. But also, like you said, like a client online, at least my client, like they want to know how to make pizza work in their diet on Friday night. They don't give a fuck how vitamin B12 affects their physiology.
Exactly.
Like they just don't fucking care.
Exactly.
And if I tried to educate them on that and like share with them how important it is, it's literally just like, yeah, can I have sausage on my pizza? Like people like, so that's who I help. And
exactly, it doesn't really matter how do carbs get broken down in your bloodstream. Does that matter? Like,
Yeah.
are you gonna tell someone
Not to
how
everyday person.
gluconeogenesis works, or how the Krebs cycle works in the inside of your mitochondria? Like, no one really cares about that, right?
Yeah. And some may be interested, but at the end of the day, like as a business owner, what's required is like you provide a good product,
Yeah.
and are they happy?
Yeah.
And something you shared that is so, I just quickly want to highlight is anyone watching who's like, I would love to do what Hayden and Steph do, or Brian. You highlighted 2 things, and I love that you said it about what you're building out, the course, the 3-month program. You immediately said who it's for, and you said why you're creating it, because of feeling like you were not equipped. So that's knowing yourself, which ties to what we said earlier, what we help people with in business is know yourself, know why you're doing it, and know who it's for. Those basic things. So anyone watching, like, who's looking to do something similar, just understand if you reach out to them or me, like, the questions are going to be, it's like, who are you going to help? Who are you intending to serve? And who are you? Why? Important thing. There was a guy who commented, a kid who commented on one of my photos or workouts yesterday, and he was like, Brian, I've been doing your workouts for the last 3 months. I'm seeing great results, but I don't look like you. I clicked on his profile. He was 18. He had it in his bio. I literally said, I responded to him. I said, I started weight training at 17 in year 2009. I'm 27 years old. I said, shoot me an email in year 2028, in 9 years, put in some time, and I'll see where you're at from there, and I'll give you some more accurate advice. Literally what I said. And then a lot of people started liking that. Because now people want to know the truth, and this kid is that's technically another generation, right? Is age 18 now? That's not millennial?
It's
Gen Z. Like, I can't even imagine now at that age, like, kids knowing how to use phones and iPads before they turn 1. Like,
Dude,
just how like readily anything. Like, we can learn how to do a surgery on YouTube.
It's insane. It's even more prominent in Gen Zers, where I read this article like maybe last year, and it's so interesting. It was saying pretty much that people from that generation value formal education, formal institutions even less than millennials. They're like, probably those people are not even going to go to grad school because they don't value it at all. Like, obviously, unless you need it for a license, like if you want to be a physical therapist, you gotta have your licensed physical therapy. But less and less people are going to enroll in like master level degrees or doctorate level degrees.
Even undergraduate.
Undergraduate degrees, because
liberal arts education.
Because they just feel like they can learn informally
through
YouTube or courses.
I personally fully agree with that. I think the education system needs a massive overhaul. And yeah, I'm definitely not discounting your engineers, your doctors, you need the acronyms at the end of your name. You need a specific targeted skill set. Like, yes, it just makes sense to go and put your time and energy into a program that has been created for that, right? But if you want to learn, like, business school these days, like, is a fucking joke. Like, it's a fucking joke. The fact that in business schools, an undergrad marketing degree is not teaching Facebook ads. Like, what? Like, that, there are literally like 18-year-old kids who are becoming multi-millionaires from their bedroom smoking weed because they set up a drop shipping business through Shopify and they learn how to scale a business through Facebook ads.
Yeah.
My roommate that lives here, fucking $5 million last year revenue, age 25, because he learned Facebook ads and drop shipping. Like, he's not a genius. He just went all in with what works now, and he learned it through a mentor who did it on his own. Like, learned online business. They're not teaching that. So, kind of just got sidetracked, but like, my point is, education is great for certain things. Other things, I believe it's better to sign up for a course that's built online by someone who has done it in the last 2 years and is still doing it. Like, that's a big selling point for me. A lot of business mentors for fitness coaches online, they either never were an online fitness coach or like they did and they don't anymore. Like, I did, I still do, I still have it going, and I'm staying abreast of what works now. And that is what equips me to be able to mentor people.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here. While I agree with certain points that you're making about the formal institutions needing a massive overhaul and changing the way that they're teaching and their curriculum and maybe taking out things that they're doing, whatever, I also think that there's something to be said about just having those four walls at such an integral part of someone's developmental life. Just when you're, at least I can remember when I was 17, 18, I literally knew nothing about like how to survive in the world. Like, I needed that dorm. I needed to be there. I needed a supervisor, like someone to like literally make sure that I was going to class. I needed that roommate. I needed that professor calling my mom when I wasn't showing up. Like I needed that structure when I was 17, 18 years old. It's like while the coursework might not have been the best in terms of whatever the current, I don't know, in terms of
best practices.
Yeah, best practices or giving me the tools that I needed to succeed in the world afterwards. Maybe that might not have been the best, but from just a structure standpoint and just making sure that I didn't live on the streets or just chose a path of destruction in my life, I think that's the value that a formal institution had in terms of my, at least, formation.
Yeah, I think you both actually alluded to it earlier where you're saying the value of school now is learning how to learn, meet deadlines, being under pressure, those sort of things. It's like
people still should go to college.
It's like getting a dry run at real life, where
Yeah.
the consequences are not you fail life, but you fail a test or a class, or you know what I mean.
And hopefully
So-
that sparks something in your brain that's like, all right, like I can't do that because something bad happens. You know what I mean?
And it teaches you how to interact with people and not be manipulative, but how to maneuver relationships and all those sort of things that go along with networking and all that stuff. But you're right in that, you know, in general, I think a lot of the literature is many stages behind what it's at now.
I agree.
Definite pros and
I'm
cons.
not disagreeing. All I've got to say is like, I agree with what you said. There needs to be a change in expectation setting then for what the value that, you know, continuing education is. Like, we're highlighting it as a benefit because it's getting the reps in for life. It's like pre-life. It's life practice, real world practice. Okay, well, a lot of education, all like colleges these days, what are we sold on? You're gonna come, you're gonna get this degree, you're gonna get a job that pays you much better, right? Well, actually the stats are opposite. It's like people are working longer and longer hours for less to pay their debt that they took out to go to school to get that job. So like, I'm not that needs to be an expectation that's set then. If we're going to go to college for something that's not a specific skill set, right? Like the doctor, like the PT. If it's like, if you are just going to go to college for a liberal arts education, figure out your life and what you want to do, you've got to know that that's the reason why you're going. And you're going for the discipline and to stay in a structure while you're still figuring out life. Because let's be real, no one at age 18, high schooler, knows what life is.
Yeah.
Right? So I just think it's a change in expectation setting,
Yeah.
not being sold on, I don't know what I want to do, but I'm going to go to college now because I'm going to get a really good job after I leave because I'm getting my communications degree.
Yeah, I agree
No.
with that a lot.
So.
Yeah.
You know, the origin of university was actually not that at all. It's like it's a more of a modern shift that it's become towards getting a job. And I wonder if, with all the influence of people saying these sorts of things now, because this is a theme that you hear commonly, you know, everybody is saying pretty much the same thing about institutions now. But it'd be cool to see, way back in the day, university was just a place for higher learning that was mostly the wealthy would go to. It was like a privilege to go learn and improve yourself with no end goal other than that. So it would be kind of cool to see that shift go back if we can change the expectations of what, you know, the institutions are for into just a place of higher learning where you're just learning to learn instead of if I do X, Y, and Z, I'll get this
but
outcome.
here's the thing, and the reason why I wanted to bring it up is because, and I would hate this message to be lost, is I've seen it way too much on certain people's socials where like they're almost encouraging kids not to go to college because of, you know, some of the reasons that we outlined.
I don't like that.
And I don't like
seeing
that at
either.
all. Yeah, so I just wanted to
Gary
be
Vee's
clear.
a huge one, not to call him out or anything, but I've heard him a number of times telling kids to drop out or
College
that, you know.
pointless and it's not going to get you anywhere. But, you know, I feel like we did a really good job at least, you know, polarizing kind of like some of the pros, some of the cons, and just, like you said, managing expectations. Like, why are you really going to college and what are you getting out of it exactly?
As someone who's doing something that's not like direct with what I went to college for, I still have zero regrets of going to school. So
I'll give
take that for what it's worth.
I'll give you another example, my personal example. So I went to school to become a physical therapist, And within my first rotation, I realized that it wasn't at all what I wanted to do.
The first day, she walked out. We were in Houston, right? This is the one you're talking about? She has her first day at her first rotation. She comes out. I go to pick her up. I'm all like excited to hear about it. She just sits in the car and she's like, I hate this. And then how many more of them? So you had 3 months there, and then how many more did you have to do?
I had 8 months more of like different.
My sister's on rotation. She's in pharmacy school. She's on rotations everywhere doing that whole thing right now. It's a lot.
It's a lot. So yeah, that was my first. It was 2 months. That 2 month one, and then after that, I had 2 more years off school, and then 8 more months of different rotations. And my first day, I was like, I fucking hate this. I can't see myself doing this at all.
But you stuck through?
I stuck through. Yeah, I stuck through. I was like, you know what? If I don't do this, I really don't know what else I would do. There are pieces of physical therapy that I really enjoy learning about and that I could see myself doing. So I'm just gonna and I'm good at it. So I'm gonna give myself a chance. You know, maybe there's something that I like more within the realms of physical therapy. Fast forward 2 more years, end of like the last rotation, which was the most brutal one of all because it was in a hospital and I don't like being in hospitals at all. Yeah, I graduated and I was like, you know what? Honestly, like so I went through like a 3-month long depression where I was like, man, I just wasted 3 years of my life learning what for what, because I don't even want to take my boards. I don't want to be a physical therapist. I don't want to work in an office. I don't want to have a 9 to 5. What am I going to do with this? So for those entire 3 months, I just spent a lot of time kind of just internalizing what had happened and trying to be optimistic about having gone through that and trying to think about ways that I could still utilize some of that knowledge in a different way, maybe like not in a traditional way, being a physical therapist and like seeing people and rubbing people down and whatever, because that's not what I liked. And it took, I think, a whole year for me to literally reinvent myself and create a job that fit exactly what I wanted to do. So I like educating, but I don't like having a job. So at least not now, I don't see myself working at a school, like teaching. Even though I like it, it's not something for now. So I do enjoy educating. I like spreading the right knowledge. I like the whole evidence-based stuff with like where you're actually putting out high quality information that's science-based, because there's
you guys are the top, honestly. You guys are like I just had to add that. You guys are like the fucking top with doing this, and like 3DMJ and like what you guys are doing is so fucking important. I just wanted to say that.
It's needed, right?
It's so important.
Appreciate it. So yeah, so that's why I wanted to create a YouTube channel, and then I started looking for different ways that I could just spread my knowledge in a way that I found enjoyable. So where was I going with all this? Oh, just like giving another example of like how I went through this whole formal institution process where I got a license and I did all this school and then was like, maybe I don't want to do any of this. But then I still used pieces of it to create the job that I wanted for myself.
And I think it gave you also a really cool perspective, because you went into those internships being like, holy crap, what I learned in school actually didn't prepare me for this job.
At all.
So now you're able to do things like creating an Institute of Strength or putting out YouTube content or Instagram content that sort of helps bridge the gap between what you learned in school and what's actually needed for these jobs. So hopefully some PT students aren't going to just come out of PT school, get dumped in the situation and have a panic attack.
Yeah, exactly.
There's so many layers, and like I just had another thought pop up, like, and for those watching who, you know, perhaps you're doing something you don't enjoy or you think you're studying something that's not aligned with you, like, don't we, like, at certain, like, we have to experience what we don't want to know what we do want to.
Yeah.
And there's extreme value in that. Like, I would not go back and I wouldn't change anything about my past, nothing. Like, even relationships that went wrong, jobs that ultimately didn't fulfill me, because I learned through like experience what I don't want. That's not something where I can watch a quick 60-second segment from Gary Vee on Instagram, be like, oh, I'm not gonna do that. Like, no, like, I'm a human. I need to like experience the repercussions of my actions, and like having to show up somewhere I don't want to know, really instill in me like, I do not want to do this, and like I need to have a fucking fire under my ass to find what I want to do, because like I'll go as far as to say like I wouldn't be able to have a fire to show up every day and remain committed You know, because yes, we live in our passions, but it's still work. Like, I wouldn't be able to if I didn't have those times.
Absolutely.
So, damn, this has been a fucking awesome conversation.
Yeah, it's been good, eh?
All right, my babies. I'm kidding. That's her love. That was a great talk with Brian. I think what's really cool, I know I said it already, but just to reiterate that I think no matter what you look at or what sort of businesses in the industry that you look at, it really comes down to a select few of really important principles in terms of how you market yourself, understanding what your role is and who you are and what you're trying to sell, why you're trying to sell it, and over-delivering value. So Brian, thanks for sitting down and talking to us about all that. Where can people find you?
Thank you. And I just want to, again, extend my gratitude to you guys. I look up to what you guys are doing and the statements that you guys make and just the athletes that you are too. So appreciate the time. You guys can find me on social, so like Instagram, YouTube, it's just Brian Decosta, or my fitness coaching is Shredded for Life, shreddedforlife.com or briandecosta.com.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate your time. Catch you guys next time.
The following day, we ended up dropping by Barbell Brigade to get a workout in, which would be our main spot for the next 2 days.